Are men needed today? Well, I think there's a lot of guys that are becoming increasingly wary and just tired of being called toxic, of having these labels attached to them from the media and entertainment sources, and really even things like greeting cards. You look at any kind of greeting card, whether Mother's Day or anything else, it's going to portray men as just being dumb buffoons. And whether, I don't know if it's partly our fault, maybe some of it is, I'm sure, but also just the culture as a whole that has just increasingly become just more antagonistic about being a man. And so I want to give a counter voice to that. And a lot of my channel is about being a provider and protector. It's really geared, a lot of it, toward men. Not that I don't appreciate you ladies that are watching, of course. But I think for a lot of guys, they need to know that they're not alone. So if you're watching this as a guy, you're not alone. I know that even there's like this resurgence among young people looking to others that are sensing this, that there's such a low expectation for men on the one hand, where they're just seen as just dumb goofs and lazy and all of this, staying in their mother's basement till they're 40 playing video games, that kind of idea. And certainly there is a problem with that. But on the other hand, there's such high expectation from a lot of people that, we're not perfect. And so because of that, we're going to mess up, we're going to make mistakes, we're going to sin, all of that. But because of that, then we're being told, well, we're not needed, that we can never measure up, that we can't do it. So why even try? And so I'm concerned about this in our culture. I mean, not only with this kind of rise of, I'm going to call it a secular feminism in the sense, I believe obviously that men and women created equally in the image of God. They're equal in dignity, worth, and value, and all of that, absolutely. But there's a sense in which this certain strain of this secular feminism, that is the mission of which is to either distort the distinctives and the roles between men and women, and there are roles and distinctives between men and women, no doubt, or to just denigrate men to a point where they just don't see a need for them at all. And that's not right. And I think a lot of young guys especially are looking to people in our culture that are the loudest voices, like a Joe Rogan or a Jordan Peterson or an Andrew Tate, people like that. And I believe that those guys are at least diagnosing some of the problems correctly, although I disagree with a lot of their conclusions. Especially, someone like Andrew Tate, even though, again, I think he's diagnosing some things correctly, but, his what he's conveying as the image of a man is one that has a lot of girls, a lot of women, flashy cars, just throwing money out. Just that kind of image of a man. And I don't think that's the true image of a man. Now, success, sure. I'm all for someone having success. But in being strong, I think that's an image, a message that's coming through. And I'm all for that as well. But this extravagance for the sake of yourself only, that kind of idea, no way. And this is why we have this channel, to be called provider and protector. And assumed in those words as a provider, as someone you're providing for not only yourself, but for others. Protector, you're not only protecting yourself, you're protecting others. You're thinking about others. It's like the Titanic men, that it was like women and children first. They were strong, they were leaders, no doubt. But because of that, they took on the responsibility to let the women and children get into the lifeboats first and save themselves. Now, some were weak men, some did not do that. But we don't hold them up as models or examples either. The other thing is, for a lot of men that I want to see more of, is men just stepping in to take responsibility, take action when there's a need. I saw this clip of two boys, 9 or 10 years old, and they turn a corner on a creepy hallway, and there was a doll. Like, this is weird. This is a creepy, whole thing was odd and eerie. And they saw the doll, and both boys, they're brothers, they took two immediate actions. They each took an action. The first one, immediate action, was he saw the doll and just ran away. He got out of there. The second one, in the same moment, split moment, He saw the doll, and instead of running, he ran right at the doll and kicked it as if it were like a football going through the field goal. So what's the difference there? One of the boys is running from danger, one's running into it. It's like 9/11. You got firefighters and others running into danger. You've got that impulse. So not too long ago, several years ago, I was clearing some property near our house, and there was a pack of dogs that had previously killed some animals, including a donkey, and chased a person at our next door neighbor's property. And I was clearing some property by myself. I had a machete with me. And as I was walking back to my truck, this pack of dogs started coming right at me, like barking and just like barreling right at me. And my first instinct in that moment, I just ran right back at them. I was running straight at them as well. And I had every intention and I had full confidence that I was going to kill all of those dogs. Now, they ended up turning and running. I reflected upon that. Why did I do that? Maybe it wasn't smart. I don't know. And I maybe often don't have the courage that I would like to have. But in that moment, I guess I had courage in that sense that I saw the danger and I went anyway. That's what courage is. And it surprised me. It surprised me about myself. Like, okay, I can do that. Like, there could be a moment, a bump in the night. There can be something, and it's on me as a guy to be the provider and protector. Again, it's not for myself. It's for others. Now, obviously, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to defend myself. But it's about men taking responsibility and ownership in society, in culture, stepping up in the gap. And I've been a big and long proponent of guys that carry CCW, concealed carry weapon. I've got whole videos on this. Or that they're prepared for an emergency. So if there's a situation and there's a vehicle off the side of the road, needs to be towed out, car breaks down, someone is bleeding out, and you need to put a chest seal on them or a tourniquet, just all those kinds of things, being someone who's useful and someone who is dependable in any kind of situation, or a lot of situations, not any, but a lot of situations, that you're someone that someone can look to, be like, okay, I'm glad he's on our team. He's an asset. He's not a liability. So I thought about this, that men today, even though they're not seen to have a need for so many people in our culture, there's a big need. And it's not only for society, because I think that's true in our culture, our society, but also in our homes. And the fatherlessness rate is just horrible today. And it has a big impact on kids. And I think the reason for some of this is that a lot of people, a lot of even wives, oftentimes will look at their husband. They're not doing anything. They're not measuring up. They're not successful. All this, and eventually the guys just give up. I'm not going to do this. Can't do this. So I hear that from a lot of folks. But listen to some of these stats on fatherlessness in the home. 1 in 4 children are raised without a father today. They're twice as likely to suffer from mental health and behavioral problems. Children without fathers are 279% more likely to deal in drugs. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. 90% of homelessness, those who are homeless, come from fatherless homes. 60% of youth suicides come from fatherless homes. And 85% of those in prison today come from fatherless homes. It's a big deal. Even my local area, my city that I live in, there's these billboards everywhere that talk about fatherhood.gov. Even the government's like, this is a big problem. So is it important to have men? Are men needed today? Absolutely. Absolutely. They bring a unique, distinctive and role and responsibility to the world of your home, to the world of your community. And I want to encourage you guys, if you're a man watching this, if you're a lady watching this, thank you for joining me today. My rant here. But if you're a guy watching this, you're not alone. There's a lot of us that are seeing this problem, seeing this need, and we need to be vocal and take action. But again, not in that, oh, look at me kind of way, but just in, like, this is our duty. This is our responsibility. It's for others. We exist Yes, certainly to feed ourselves, to take care of ourselves, provide for ourselves, defend ourselves, all that for sure. But we also exist, it's a both and. We also exist for the sake of others, to be a provider and protector for other people. So guys, I'd love to get your take on this and your thoughts. And I know there's so much to this that I've missed, and I want to do some more videos in this topic for sure. But I would love to get your thoughts and your take, and maybe you've experienced some of this in your own life, being called a buffoon, being kind of treated with no respect and no honor, and that's really what we want from others. And maybe guys, maybe that's some of you, and maybe you have some advice for me as I try to think through some of this. But I hope it's been helpful for you, and if you've not already done so, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. I do really appreciate your support for us, and we'll see you on the next video.